The Food and Drug Administration is proposing to redefine what it legally means to be orange juice in America.
Fresh squeezed orange juice.
According to the FDA, lowering the sugar content of orange juice could help keep the breakfast drink affordable. But how will this affect taste? And what does this mean for the future of Florida's orange industry? In just 20 years, orange production in Florida has collapsed. In 2005, the state produced 250 million boxes of oranges, whereas in 2025, just 12 million boxes. This was the smallest harvest in Florida's history since 1930. And orange juice wasn't even commercially produced in the United States until the 1940s. And overall citrus production in Florida for the 25 harvest season was the lowest in over a century. And ordinary Americans are feeling the pressure. The price of a 12-ounce bottle of orange juice has nearly doubled since 2020. And tariffs and inflation are only one side of that story. In this video, I'll explain the history behind what it means to be orange juice in America. I'll explore how a twofold disaster of hurricanes and disease devastated Florida's crop. I'll unpack the economic pressures behind the FDA's proposal and see just how this might affect the citrus industry in the future. I'm Bryan, welcome to Why with Bry. Let's dig in. In 1963, the FDA created what is known as a Standard of Identity for pasteurized orange juice. This established a set of guidelines that defined what could legally be sold as orange juice in the United States.
Only fruit of the finest
The rule requires that finished product contain at least 10.5 degrees Brix. This is basically a measure of the sugar content of the oranges that are used in production. This ensures sweetness and consistency with the intent of protecting consumers from diluted products. And once upon a time, that wasn't a difficult standard for Florida's orange growers to achieve. When the standard was established in 1963, the average orange that was harvested in Florida that year measured in at 11.8 degrees Brix, well above the minimum Brix standard. This meant that orange juice producers in the United States could rely on American oranges for their products without having to rely on imports from overseas. This kept orange farmers rich, production costs low, and orange juice cheap and abundant in the United States for many decades. Speaking of cheap and abundant, likes and subscribes are completely free and unlimited. Now back to orange juice. At its peak, Florida's citrus industry produced nearly 250 million boxes of fruit. Since then, a series of hurricanes, freezes, and diseases have devastated the crop by an average of 6% per year over the last 20 years. By the 2024-2025 harvest season, output was just 14.52 million boxes. That's the lowest since the 1919-1920 season. So what's behind this decline? The main culprit behind the downfall was a bacterial disease that was first detected in Florida in 2005. Citrus greening, or HLB, causes mottled leaves, stunted growth, bittered fruit, and premature fruit drop. There's no known effective cure, and infected trees may die within years, whereas a healthy citrus tree may survive and produce fruit for decades. Not only does citrus greening significantly reduce crop yield, but also significantly reduces crop quality, especially in terms of the fruit's sugar content. And there lies the motivations behind the FDA's proposal to lower the Brix standard for orange juice. By the 2022-2023 harvest year, the average sugar content of Florida's oranges had dropped to 9.7 degrees Brix, well below the minimum standard required. And just 50 years before that, 11.8 degrees Brix. On top of citrus greening, there have been multiple hurricanes over the last 20 years that have devastated Florida's crops. 4 hurricanes in one season alone in 2004-2005 destroyed crops while spreading another disease called citrus canker, a twofold disaster in and of itself. Hurricane Irma caused widespread damage to crops in 2017, and Hurricane Milton destroyed huge swaths of the state's most productive citrus groves in 2024. And of course, some years there have been freezes that have affected the crop, but I'll save that for another video. But the impact of weather pales in comparison to the devastating economic toll that citrus greening has had on Florida's orange growers, with no end in sight. This industry is in real trouble, and it's causing major economic ripple effects that ordinary Americans are feeling too. With supply shrinking, orange juice has gone from staple product to premium good. The price of a 12-ounce bottle of orange juice nearly doubled from $2.30 in 2020 to over $4.50 in 2026. This far outpaces the rate of inflation and any impact of tariffs. The US once produced 45% of the global need of orange juice. Today, it produces just 6% of this need. Domestically produced orange juice once satisfied 75% of domestic demand. Now, just 16%. How do American orange juice producers fill the gap? To meet the 10.5-degree Brix requirement, domestic orange juice processors often blend their juices with imports from Brazil and Mexico. This keeps products compliant, but reduces the share of US fruit in the final product. This results in higher production costs, but also further drives down the price of domestically produced oranges, further reducing the incentive to grow oranges in Florida. As a result, the orange trade deficit ballooned from 770,000 boxes in 2014 to over 30 million boxes in 2025. It's safe to say that American orange juice now is mostly Brazilian. New tariffs on imports, such as the February 2026 global tariff of 10%, threaten to drive prices even higher. The American orange juice industry looks like it's on the brink of total collapse. So what does the FDA propose? On August 6, 2025, the FDA proposed lowering the minimum soluble solids requirement for pasteurized orange juice from 10.5 degrees to 10 degrees Brix. The agency concluded that the change would provide greater flexibility to orange juice processors and would realign regulations with the modern US crop, all with the intent of being transparent with the American consumer. But how would this affect taste? More on that in a minute. In the proposal, the FDA estimates that cost savings for orange juice processors, as in the companies that are buying oranges and turning them into orange juice, could range anywhere from $14.7 million to over $106 million per year, with a central estimate in their proposal of $52 million a year. Likewise, the American Farm Bureau Federation's calculations estimated an average annual savings of $50 million per year. This translates to about 39 cents per gallon of orange juice produced. These savings come in the form of lower blending costs and better use of fruit that might have otherwise been wasted. If the definition of orange juice does change, growers and processors could regain some of their competitive edge.
Pure Florida quality orange.
Lowering the Brix standard would likely reduce reliance on high Brix imports, theoretically adding more value to the domestic supply chain by increasing the utility of oranges produced in the US. Processors could avoid the expense of imported concentrate and theoretically drive down their production costs, because they're going to be relying more on domestic oranges. The standard change could also reduce the diversion of lower Brix fruit into animal feeds and discount markets, where farmers make far less money than if their oranges end up in a high-value product like orange juice. Altogether, using more domestic oranges in American OJ may help preserve rural agricultural jobs, as well as processing capacity in the United States. Some consumers worry that lowering the standard opens the door to diluted products and consumer confusion, but maybe it could make orange juice more affordable while preserving Florida's citrus industry. But will it affect the taste? Petitioners noted, nutrition labels for pasteurized orange juice, or POJ for short, show that an 8-ounce serving of orange juice with a Brix of 10.5 degrees contains 18 grams of sugar, whereas a serving of orange juice with a Brix of 10 degrees has 17 grams of sugar. Thus, lowering the minimum Brix of POJ, as proposed in this rule, would result in a 1 gram difference in sugar content per serving. So as long as orange juice producers modify their recipes within the standards, lowering the sugar content of orange juice should have no significant impact on flavor or nutritional value. Maybe unless you're some kind of orange juice sommelier or something, then maybe you might be able to notice. Florida's orange groves are in crisis, and the industry is hoping for a lifeline. In response, the FDA is proposing a modest regulatory tweak, lowering the sugar content of what it legally means to be orange juice. This change could save the orange juice industry tens of millions of dollars a year. It could encourage domestic production and lower the price of orange juice, or at least stabilize it over the long term. If you take anything away from this story, it's not that the FDA wants to water down your product or dilute orange juice beyond recognition. It's that the FDA is responding to a twofold economic and ecological disaster in the state of Florida. This isn't about changing orange juice for health, flavor, food safety. It's about creating a lifeline for an industry without affecting health, flavor, or food safety. Seismic shifts in the 21st century, in agriculture, in trade, and especially in this case, the forces of nature, are going to continue to drive regulatory change as industries are forced to adapt in a rapidly changing world. As the public comment period plays out, one thing is clear: orange juice may never be the same. If you found this breakdown interesting, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.